People say you never really know a person until life puts you in a situation where kindness is the only choice you can offer. And on one cold Tuesday morning in downtown Seattle, a young woman named Emily was about to face that exact moment. She was rushing, tired, stressed, and barely holding her day together when a quiet voice stopped her. A man sitting on the sidewalk, wrapped in a worn blanket, looked up at her and said, "Miss, any help is welcome." Little did she know, the man asking for help was actually a millionaire in disguise, testing the world, testing her, hoping to understand whether kindness still existed in the everyday chaos of life. Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that touch the heart and remind us of the good in this world, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. It truly helps the channel grow and continue bringing powerful stories like this one. Welcome to Kindness Journey. Emily had overslept that morning. Her phone's alarm never rang, and her bus had broken down halfway to work. Her boss had already texted her twice asking where she was. She clutched a cheap cup of gas station coffee in her hand, the only warmth she had against the icy wind. Her thoughts were scattered, her heart was anxious, and she felt like the day was already crashing down on her. She stepped onto the sidewalk, power walking toward her office, when she heard that voice. It wasn't loud. It wasn't demanding. It was gentle, almost tired. "Miss, any help is welcome." She turned her head and saw him. A man in his late 50s, gray hair peeking from under a simple knit cap, eyes soft but weighed down by something she couldn't name. His clothes were layered but old, and his hands trembled faintly as he held a small cardboard sign. Her first instinct was to walk past. She didn't have time. She didn't have energy. She didn't even have much money in her purse. But something in the man's eyes made her stop. Maybe it was the quiet dignity he carried, or maybe it was the exhaustion she recognized because she felt it too. Life had been hard for her lately, rent rising, student loans hitting, hours at work getting cut. She barely had enough to get through her own week. She took a breath and walked toward him. "Hi," she said softly. "Are you hungry?" He nodded once. "I won't lie, yes." Emily hesitated. She checked her wallet. $7. That was it until Friday. $7 didn't go far, but it could buy a sandwich, maybe a warm soup. She looked at him again. He wasn't pushy. He wasn't desperate. He just looked like a man who'd been cold for too long, tired for too long, unseen for too long. "Wait here," she said gently. She jogged to the little deli on the corner and bought a turkey sandwich, a cup of hot tomato soup, and a small bottle of water. She spent everything except a single dollar. As she walked back toward him, she wondered if she had done something foolish. She wondered if she had just made her own week harder. But the thought disappeared the moment she saw the surprised warmth rise in his eyes. "For me?" he asked quietly. "Yeah," she said with a small smile. "Everyone deserves a warm meal." He accepted the food slowly, almost reverently, as if no one had handed him something with such sincerity in a very long time. "You didn't have to do this." "I know," she replied. "But I wanted to." He studied her for a moment, as if searching for something beyond the kindness. "What made you stop?" Emily shrugged. "Because one day, that could be me. And I'd hope someone would stop for me too." The man nodded deeply, as though her words touched something buried inside him. "People don't usually stop," he whispered. "Most walk by. Some pretend not to hear. Some judge." He paused. "But you didn't." Emily felt her chest tighten. "The world's hard enough. We can make it a little softer for each other." He smiled, and it wasn't the smile of someone helpless, it was the smile of someone deeply grateful. A smile that felt strangely wise. She didn't know that this man, whose clothes were worn and whose hands trembled, was actually Thomas Avery, a retired businessman worth millions. A man who had founded charities, invested in communities, and quietly donated to hospitals. A man who had lost his wife to cancer 2 years earlier and had begun questioning whether people still cared for one another at all. So he conducted a small experiment. For a week, he dressed in simple clothes, sat on various sidewalks, and asked for help, not money, just help. A sandwich. A conversation. A moment of humanity. And Emily was the first person all week who had stopped and offered kindness without hesitation. He sipped the soup slowly, savoring its warmth. "What's your name?" he asked. "Emily." "That's a good name," he said. "Emily, do you believe kindness still matters?" "Always," she said. "Even if it feels small, it matters." Thomas nodded again, almost to himself. He placed the soup down gently, looked her in the eyes, and said, "I want to tell you something." She blinked, unsure. "I'm not who I look like," he said quietly. "I'm not living on the street. I'm testing people, trying to understand if compassion still lives in the everyday world." Emily frowned, confused. "Testing." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a sleek business card. Her breath caught when she read the name. Thomas Avery. Founder. CEO. Philanthropist. A name she'd seen in news headlines and charity events. She looked up, stunned. Why pretend?" "Because wealth can build walls," he said. "And I needed to know if humanity still exists beyond them. And today, you showed me it does." Emily stood frozen, unsure what to say. "I want to help you," he continued softly. "Not because you helped me, but because the world needs more people like you." She shook her head quickly. "I didn't do it for something in return." "I know," he said. "That's exactly why you deserve it." He offered her a simple deal, lunch once a week where he would mentor her career, help her financially get back on her feet, and guide her toward building the nonprofit she'd once dreamed of starting. Emily's eyes filled with tears she fought to hold back. "Why me?" she whispered. "Because one act of kindness," he said, "can rewrite a person's entire story." Months passed, and Emily's life transformed. With Thomas's guidance, she launched a small kindness-driven community program that provided meals, clothing, and emotional support to struggling families. It grew faster than she ever imagined. Thomas attended every event, supporting quietly in the background. And every time she looked at him, she remembered that cold morning when everything changed. Kindness didn't just pass through her life. It multiplied. And for anyone watching this story right now, remember this: kindness doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes it's a sandwich, a warm smile, a moment of listening, or just simply stopping when someone needs help. You never know who you're touching. And you never know how far that single act of compassion can ripple. One small kindness can change a day. One day can change a life. And sometimes, it can even change the world.